As a young man, I dreamed of wrestling at Wrestlemania, of hearing the crowd chanting my name, but like most people with the same dreams, it was not meant to be. Only a select few have competed at the biggest show of the year, and only a small percentage of those few have main evented at the showcase of the Immortals. With WrestleMania fast approaching, Heel Turn Wrestling brings you our top 5 WrestleMania main events. Small caveat before we go any further, we are only selecting from the 38 matches that have gone on last at each WrestleMania, so no room here for Savage vs Steamboat, Austin vs Brett, or Rock vs Hogan. We're talking strictly show closers. The last match before bedtime, John Cena vs The Miz at WrestleMania 27. Why would you do that to us, Vince? So this is the top 5 WrestleMania main events ever, according to us here at Heel Turn Wrestling. Hit the guitar riff. Number 5, Bret Hart vs Shawn Michaels Iron Man match, WrestleMania 12. A heavily debated topic amongst fans, this match really divides opinion. It's either considered boring by some or a technical masterpiece by others. We fall into the latter category, believing that Shawn and Bret battling it out for over an hour is as good as it gets. Also factor in this was the first ever Iron Man match and the first ever match to be centered around wrestling as opposed to the showmanship of the Hogan era. Two foes trying to prove who was the better man for the biggest prize of all. Excellent psychology was maintained throughout the entire 62-minute epic, with Shawn Michaels scoring the decisive fall in overtime after 2 super kicks. The boyhood dream had come true, and Bret and Shawn shook hands and remained best friends forever. Don't Google that. Number 4, Brock Lesnar vs Kurt Angle, WrestleMania 19. After an incredible night of action in Seattle, with Steve Austin, The Rock, Shawn Michaels, Triple H and Hulk Hogan all having worked on the show earlier, Brock Lesnar and Kurt Angle were given the honour of closing out the most star-studded show ever. The heat was on, neither man had main evented a WrestleMania before. Added to the pressure was Kurt Angle working with a neck injury, which had even placed his participation in doubt just days earlier. With all the obstacles in their way, the two college wrestling standouts gave the fans 20 minutes of hard-hitting, fast-paced scientific action with a few callbacks to their amateur past, sprinkled in amongst both men's suplex-based offense. The two were proving they could hang at the top level, giving the fans everything they had. Brock was so enthusiastic to put an exclamation point on the night, it nearly cost him his career, or worse. Attempting an almighty shooting star press, Brock miscalculated his descent and landed face first on the canvas. Brock would eventually hit an F5 to claim his 3rd WWE title. Both men walked out injured and in a lot of pain, but the one thing they can both take from it is a sense of pride for giving the fans a main event to remember. Number 3, Shawn Michaels vs The Undertaker, WrestleMania 26, The Streak vs Shawn Michaels' career. The sequel to their critically acclaimed match at the previous year's Mania, Shawn put his career on the line for one more shot at breaking The Undertaker's winning streak. Every near fall was met with a gasp by the fans, knowing that a 3 count either way would mean the end of something forever. The Tombstone didn't get the job done. Sweet Chin Music didn't get the job done. These two veterans fought back and forth until Michaels, defiant to the last and with one last slap to the dead man, succumbed to 2 successive tombstones, pulling the curtain down on his glittering 25-year career. We would never see HBK wrestle again. Just don't Google that either. No Googling ever. Number 2, Steve Austin vs The Rock, WrestleMania 17. The main event of the greatest WWE pay-per-view in history, according to us at Heel Turn Wrestling, comes up just short in this list. This story has been told multiple times elsewhere. All the pieces were in place. The Limp Bizkit My Way video package told the story perfectly. The two biggest stars of the Attitude Era clashed in their second WrestleMania main event in a no disqualification match. A fast-paced back-and-forth encounter with no respite for either competitor. Austin and The Rock left everything in the ring in Houston. This match and the match that is next were neck and neck in our thoughts, but the ending of the two matches puts this one in the silver medal spot. The widely criticised Austin heel turn at the climax of the show leaves a sour taste in the mouth, with even Austin himself claiming in hindsight that he should have never made the turn. Before revealing our number one selection, here are some honourable mentions for those matches that were considered for this list. Hogan vs Savage from WrestleMania 5 and Hogan vs Warrior from WrestleMania 6. Austin vs The Rock from 15, the Triple Threat Main Event from 20, Cena vs Michaels from 23, Undertaker vs Edge from 24, and the Triple Threat matches from WrestleManias 30, 35 and 37. These main events were all worthy show closers and for the most part eagerly anticipated by the fan base, but with only 5 spots available it was a difficult task to pick just these 5. And now to our final entry, a pick that I'm sure will have everyone scratching their heads. This is going to take some explaining. Okay, I'm ready. Number 1, Roman Reigns vs Brock Lesnar, WrestleMania 31. By now the entire wrestling world never wants to see this match again, with this pairing seemingly being the crutch used when all other plans were failing, over and over again. Nobody wanted to see it at WrestleMania 31 either, but their very first encounter at that show was the most pleasant of surprises, with a satisfying twist thrown in at the end. Let's dig in. Heading into this match, Reigns was the most unpopular babyface challenger in WrestleMania history, bar none, his Royal Rumble victory earning himself and the company criticism from all quarters. Things were so bad, after the Rumble, fans attempted to block the building exit in a show of outrage towards the company for pushing Reigns so far, so soon. The phrase #cancel WWE Network trended for days on Twitter after the event. The company wasn't listening. Lesnar on his end had been openly negotiating with UFC for a return to the Octagon, seemingly setting in stone a victory for Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. These fears were laid to rest somewhat when Lesnar re-signed with WWE the week of WrestleMania, but they wouldn't have ignored the fans to this level if they weren't going to go all the way with Roman. The build-up was uninspired, the fans were apathetic, nothing could save this main event. Then came the match. Come match time, Lesnar was undeniably the crowd favourite, with Roman Reigns once again being showered with boos upon his entrance. What followed was 15 minutes of Lesnar dismantling Reigns, coining his now infamous "Suplex City, bitch" catchphrase in the process. The fans were lapping it up. Even the smallest comebacks from Roman was roundly booed. The boos would grow louder with Reigns defiantly laughing at Lesnar refusing to stay down. Roman would bust open the champion thanks to the ring post and make an almighty comeback, with fans and Paul Heyman alike panicking after a kick out by Lesnar at 2 9/10. The crowd was fully invested in the match, and after one more F5 the crowd hit fever pitch when Money in the Bank holder Seth Rollins sprinted to the ring, cashing in his title contract, making it a triple threat match. Picking his spot perfectly, Rollins would stomp Reigns after he'd speared Lesnar to pick up the 3 count and become the WWE Champion for the first time, with the crowd going insane. Rollins had pulled off the heist of the century, and WWE had regained the goodwill that was all but lost a mere 20 minutes beforehand. Sometimes it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And that's our video. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Hit the notification bell to be informed of new content from us, and follow us on social media. Thanks for watching, catch you on the next one.